These are my girls. They're my girls.
Yo, so why am I hearing that Oprah had a school for girls and all of them went missing?
Something strange is going on with Oprah Winfrey's South African School for Girls. Started spreading rumors that girls are disappearing from the school. According to these rumors, several students from the school have gone missing.
A couple of pets as well. Yeah. A dog and a cat with interesting names, to say the least.
Yeah. That's Oprah.
That's Oprah.
Yeah.
Okay. Named after the Oprah, and your cat's name is?
And then Gail.
Okay, Gail.
Y'all, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you is messy. Like, we're talking Hollywood elite, secret scandals, power plays, and one of the most powerful women in media allegedly playing chess with black careers, while the rest of us were out here thinking she was a saint. And the person calling her out? 50 Cent? Yes, that 50 Cent, the man who survived 9 bullets and built an empire out of pure pettiness and business savvy. Now listen, 50 has never been one to hold his tongue, right? This is the same man who trolled Ja Rule for years, bought out the front rows of his concerts just to leave them empty, and literally made a career out of exposing people. But when he came out and said Oprah Winfrey is worse than Diddy, child, the internet broke. We're talking about Oprah, the woman who gave us favorite things, book clubs, and inspiration for decades. And 50 is out here saying she's worse than the man currently facing some of the most serious allegations in hip-hop history? That's bold. But he didn't just stop there either. He straight up accused her of sabotaging black actors and musicians just to maintain her position at the top of the food chain. He said she's been playing a game for years, and that game involves keeping certain black voices down while elevating others that fit her narrative. And honey, when you start digging into the receipts, peeling back the layers of this onion, things get dark, like really dark. Let's rewind for a second, because 50 and Oprah, they've had beef for years. And it all started back when 50 was absolutely blowing up in the early 2000s. We're talking about the get rich or die trying era. The man was everywhere. His music was dominating the charts. He was in movies, doing endorsements, building an empire. But despite all of that success, he still wanted something that only a few people in entertainment could give him: legitimacy. He wanted to clean up his image, pivot from the street persona into something more mainstream and universally accepted. And the ultimate stamp of approval in Hollywood, an Oprah interview. So 50 reached out. He wanted to sit on that couch, have that conversation, show the world there was more to him than the gangster image. But Oprah allegedly looked at him and said, "Nah, I don't like you or your music." She straight up refused to interview him. Can you imagine? One of the biggest names in hip-hop at the time, a cultural phenomenon, selling millions of records, and she just said no. Said his music was too violent, too degrading, too negative. Mind you, this is the same woman who later interviewed 50 Cent when he became too big to ignore, but we'll get to that. So what does 50 do when he gets rejected? He claps back hard. This man does not take disrespect lightly, y'all. He went on interviews and accused her of only catering to older white women. He said she built her empire on their approval and their dollars, and that she had no real connection to the black community. Then he called her an Oreo, black on the outside, white on the inside. He said she was against everything he stood for, everything his music represented: the streets, the struggle, the reality of growing up in poverty and violence. And then he dropped this iconic line: "If we can't be friends, then we gotta be enemies." And honestly, he's been keeping that exact energy ever since. 50 doesn't forgive, and he definitely doesn't forget. Now here's where it gets interesting and kind of ironic. Oprah eventually interviewed 50 Cent, EQ, but allegedly, it wasn't because she had a change of heart or suddenly respected his artistry. Word on the street is that industry bigwigs pressured her. They told her 50 was too big to ignore, too influential, and frankly, too good for ratings. Her show was still massive, but 50 Cent sitting on that couch would bring in viewers she wasn't normally reaching, so she caved. But you could feel the tension during that interview, child. It was awkward. The energy was off, and the damage between them already done. That bridge wasn't just burned, it was nuked, and 50 isn't the only one with smoke for Oprah.
Favorite meal for him? When he was growing up, his favorite food was pork and beans and Franks.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Mm-hmm. You still like them?
Yeah. It was the fastest. Like things for you to...
Let's talk about Ludacris, because this story makes my blood boil. Remember when he went on her show to promote Crash, that critically acclaimed Oscar-winning film about race and humanity? Yeah, well, Oprah didn't want to talk about the movie. She didn't want to talk about his acting, his range, his growth as an artist. Instead, she grilled him about using the N-word in his music. She made the entire segment about his lyrics, about hip-hop culture, about everything except what he was there to promote.
Made about, I was there for Crash. Crash for the movie.
Yeah.
And basically she said something about not agreeing with my music, but she thought I did great in the movie. And of course I was up there with the whole cast of Crash. And so I didn't necessarily feel like that needed to be said. You know, you didn't agree with my music. And even if you don't agree with certain songs I made, say you don't agree with certain songs, don't say you just don't agree with all of my music.
And then, allegedly, she edited his responses to make him look uneducated and inarticulate. Ludacris has said in interviews that he gave thoughtful, nuanced answers about the context of his music, about the difference between art and real life, about reclaiming language. But when the episode aired, those responses were chopped up, taken out of context, and made him look like he couldn't defend himself. She used him as a scapegoat to push a narrative to her predominantly white audience. She made him the example of what's wrong with hip-hop, while she sat there as the moral authority. Ludacris called her out years later when he finally felt safe enough to speak on it. And honestly, the man had every right to be upset. She disrespected him on his promotional tour, on her platform, and made him look bad to millions of people.
I'm able to say what she said, and then I had my rebuttal, and when I saw the final show, her comments were in there.
Right, was in there, but yours wasn't in there.
And mine weren't in there, so it just looked like I kind of took it.
Wow.
Like it was just quiet and didn't say nothing.
But wait, there's more. Dave Chappelle, the comedy legend, the man who walked away from a $50 million deal with Comedy Central, which at the time was unheard of. Nobody turns down that kind of money. But Dave did, and he's been open about why. He said the environment became toxic, the pressure was too much, and he felt like he was losing control of his own voice and his own show. Rumors swirled that the deal was so shady, so manipulative, that Dave literally fled to South Africa because he feared for his safety. He needed to get away from Hollywood, away from the machine that was trying to control him. And when Oprah finally got him on her couch for an interview, she kept interrupting him. Every time Dave tried to explain his perspective, tried to tell his side of the story, she would cut him off. And allegedly, she kept trying to pressure him into admitting to substance issues that weren't even true.
That you had become increasingly paranoid. Would you say you were paranoid?
Sure. First of all, what is a black man without his paranoia intact? You might win $100 in a poker game and be on the subway. You're gonna look over your shoulder. They just said in everything I had $50 million. That's like making me a marked man.
So did you go to a psychiatric hospital?
In South Africa?
Yeah.
Who? It's me. I'm insane. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication.
Yeah.
I'm not taking this medicine, man, because I know these people be trying to control you or maybe discredit you. I was afraid,
But you were stressed out. That's why.
No question. But it's very stressful for someone to constantly walk behind.
She wanted him to say he had a breakdown, that he was on drugs, that he was unstable. Dave has said in multiple interviews that the whole experience felt off, like she was trying to control the narrative instead of letting him speak his truth. Like she had an agenda going into that conversation, and she was determined to get him to say what she wanted to hear. Facts be damned. Now, let's fast forward to 2023, because this is where things get really messy. Taraji P. Henson, one of the most talented, hardworking, respected actresses in the game, a woman who has given us iconic performances for decades. She came out and exposed Oprah for underpaying her on the Color Purple musical film.
And I heard on the street, Taraji, you had the audacity to say you're thinking about stopping acting. We said, stop talking. Are you thinking about it?
I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost. I'm tired of hearing my sisters say the same thing over and over. You get tired. I hear people go, you work a lot. Well, have to. The math ain't mathing. Tired of hearing that my entire career, 20 plus years in the game, and I hear the same thing, and I see what you do for another production, and when it's time for us to go to bed, you don't have any money. They play in your face. And I'm just supposed to smile and grin and bear it and just keep enough is enough.
Taraji said she wasn't compensated fairly, that she had to fight for every dollar, and that she was tired of being undervalued in Hollywood. She was out here crying in interviews, talking about how exhausting it is to be a black woman in this industry, how you have to work twice as hard for half the recognition and half the pay. And you know who interviewed her during this vulnerable moment? Gayle King, Oprah's best friend, her ride or die, her sister from another mister, and allegedly Repeatedly, Gail gaslit her. She downplayed Taraji's pain, made it seem like she was overreacting or being too emotional. She tried to smooth things over, redirect the conversation, make it seem like everything was fine when it clearly wasn't. And Taraji just sat there, tears streaming down her face, while Gail essentially told her to calm down and be grateful. And listen, there have been rumors for years, and I mean years, that Oprah and Gail are more than just friends. People have speculated about the nature of their relationship, how close they are, how much time they spend together, how they vacation together. I'm not saying it's true, because I don't know their personal business, but the streets talk, honey. And one thing's for sure, Gail was never going to let Taraji drag Oprah on live television. She was there to protect her friend, not to give Taraji the space to speak her truth. But 50 Cent? He saw exactly what was happening. He's always watching, always paying attention. He reposted Taraji's article on Instagram and said, "They dropped the ball. F 'em. Taraji, I'm ready to work." He wasn't playing games. He wasn't trying to be politically correct. He saw a talented black woman being mistreated, and he said, "Come work with me. I'll treat you right." And that's the thing about 50. Say what you want about him, but when he sees injustice, especially against black people in the industry, he speaks up. He was ready to give Taraji the platform and the respect that Oprah wouldn't. And that brings us to Monique. Oh, honey, Monique's story is painful, and it's been going on for over a decade. She's been saying since 2009 that Oprah, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels blackballed her in Hollywood. And why? Because she refused to do unpaid press for Precious. Let that sink in. She won an Oscar for that role. An Oscar, one of the most prestigious awards in entertainment. But they only paid her $50,000 for the film. $50,000 for an Oscar-winning performance.
What is that black dick connected to? That black man? So no, I was not blackballed. I was whiteballed. By some black who had no balls. Thank you, Mr. Lee Daniels. Thank you, Mr. Tyler Perry. Thank you, Miss Oprah Winfrey. No, baby, I wasn't blackballed. I was up by some who had no balls. And see, I know they like to say, Monique, you talk too fucking much. It would me not to say the real shit. It would me not to say the real shit. You are not paying me equally. You are not treating me fairly. So y'all can suck my if I had one.
And then they expected her to pay for her own flights, her own hotels, her own meals to go promote the movie for free. When she said no, when she stood up for herself and said she deserved to be compensated for her labor, they allegedly froze her out of Hollywood. She couldn't get work. She couldn't get auditions. Her career came to a screeching halt, and Oprah was right there in the middle of it. Monique has said that Oprah went behind her back, brought her family members on her show without Monique's permission, and aired their private business on national television. Monique felt betrayed, violated, and completely sabotaged by a woman she thought she could trust. 50 Cent stepped in for Monique too. He posted her on Instagram with a heartfelt message. He demanded that Oprah and Tyler Perry apologize to her. He said he was bringing Monique back to the top, that she deserved her flowers, and that he was going to make sure she got them. And you know what? He's been trying. He cast her in his projects, gave her a platform to speak, and publicly supported her when nobody else in Hollywood would. Because unlike Oprah, 50 actually seems to care about lifting people up instead of tearing them down for his own benefit. Now let's talk about Harvey Weinstein. Remember him? The Hollywood predator, the monster who got exposed during the Me Too movement for decades of assault and abuse? Well, Oprah and Harvey were close, like red carpets together, movie collaborations, cozy dinner parties, the whole 9 yards. They were a power couple in Hollywood. Oprah even helped promote some of his films. And when Harvey's crimes came to light, when dozens of women came forward with horrifying stories, Oprah said she had no idea. She claimed she never saw anything, never heard anything, was completely blindsided. But here's the thing, child. People don't believe her, because how do you work that closely with someone, attend the same parties, move in the same circles, and not know anything? Critics have pointed out that some of those parties allegedly had underage victims present. That abuse was happening in plain sight, and powerful people chose to look the other way. And Oprah was there. She was in those rooms. So either she knew and said nothing, or she was willfully ignorant. Either way, it doesn't look good, but it gets even darker. Let's talk about Oprah's school in South Africa, the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls. On the surface, it sounds beautiful, right? A school for underprivileged girls, giving them opportunities they'd never have otherwise. Oprah poured millions of dollars into it, personally oversaw the construction, hand-picked students. It was supposed to be her legacy.
Everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. And so I think this is a watershed moment. And if we make this just about Harvey Weinstein, then we will have lost this moment.
Except there have been multiple scandals tied to that place. In 2007, a dorm matron named Virginia Tiny Makopo was charged with 13 counts of abuse and an essay against students. 13 counts, y'all, against young girls who were supposed to be safe, protected, nurtured. When the news broke, Oprah flew all the way to South Africa, held a press conference, apologized to the families, and fired the headmistress. But a lot of people felt like it was just PR, like she was trying to save face and protect her image rather than actually taking responsibility for what happened under her watch. Then, in 2011, another incident. A student allegedly hid a pregnancy for months and gave birth in secret. The baby was found dead in her bag. In her bag, y'all, a newborn baby. The story was horrifying and it raised so many questions. How did nobody notice? Where was the supervision? What kind of environment was this school really? And then there are the darker rumors. Whispers about missing students, about essays, about rituals. Some people have even claimed that human remains were found on the property. Now, I'm not saying these rumors are confirmed because they're not. But when you add it all up, the scandals, the allegations, the secrecy, it paints a disturbing picture. And 50 Cent has alluded to all of this. He's hinted that Oprah's involvement in shady circles goes deeper than anyone wants to admit.
Something strange is going on with Oprah Winfrey's South African School for Girls.
Go look and see what happened to them girls.
So Oprah opened the school all the way back in 2007. And since the school's opening, it has been marred with many different controversies. You see, shortly after the school opened, a matron of the school was charged with touching several of the girls in a very inappropriate manner. When the crime eventually came to light, Oprah herself went to fire the school's headmistress. Then, in another incident that happened in 2011, law enforcement investigated the body of a newborn that was found in one of the students' bags. Apparently, one of the girls at the school gave birth, but there were no charges filed against her after this incident. There were also other scandals the school was involved in, like in 2009 when 7 students were suspended for harassing their classmates. And now there's a new scandal that the school is known for, as many people online have started spreading rumors that girls are disappearing from the school. According to these rumors, several students from the school have gone missing. But as of right now, nobody is sure why these rumors have started, as there is currently no news reporting that there have been missing girls at Oprah's school.
As expected, everybody had something to say. One viewer commented, Oprah was besties with Epstein. She has been to the island. The girls are probably being used. We need to do something about it. And someone else chimed in, Oprah has been an issue for years. The Black community gotta learn to stop supporting just because the person is Black. Character matters. But now I'm curious about your take. What do you make of everything 50 Cent claimed about Oprah? Do you honestly believe she played any role in those missing girls from her academy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to click here to check out another wild video. And y'all, I think it's time we start paying attention, because if people like 50 Cent, who have everything to lose, are willing to risk it all to expose her, then maybe, just maybe, there's some truth to what they're saying. Stay messy, y'all. Keep your eyes open. Do your own research, because this story, it's far from over, and something tells me there's a lot more that's going to come to light.